What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Critic and the Common Man. I am Danny. Joining me, as always, is Chris.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Academy.
And together, we are reviewing the content that you guys are all watching. Up today, The Green Knight. Let's check it out. Okay, before we get started, make sure you absolutely smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, do so now. You can only subscribe for the first time once. You'll remember this moment forever.
Unless
Chris,
you get
let's
amnesia.
jump right into this. It's one of the perks of amnesia is that you can experience things for the first time
to this
multiple
again.
times.
Yeah.
Right. I would actually take having amnesia if it meant I got to subscribe to our channel multiple times.
So if you got amnesia and you got to subscribe twice, but you don't realize it, welcome back.
Welcome
We
back.
thought it was weird
Welcome
that
back.
you came back and did it again.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that our subscriber count kept going up and down
Yeah.
like that, but now it's starting to make sense.
A lot of weird amnesia cases out there.
Almost always when we review a movie, I almost always go ahead and give you guys a spoiler warning. Just because I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, I don't want to ruin the movie. But I actually feel like with The Green Knight, it would have helped me to have seen some sort of review or at least read some sort of discussion about it before I had seen it. So this is your official spoiler warning, but just know that if you've not seen The Green Knight, it would probably do you well to at least read what the story is about before you jump into the movie. Otherwise, you may end up super confused just like I was. Chris, had you ever heard of this story before?
Yeah, I've read The Green Knight.
Okay, see, I have not. I have not read The Green Knight.
And
if
I
anybody
had to
out
read
there,
it. I didn't read it because I was trying to be pretentious or anything.
scholarly.
Yeah. I literally had to read it for my English class.
So if you're one of the people out there who watched The Green Knight and immediately thought, or didn't even get through it and thought, wow, this is so boring or this is so confusing, my goal here is to try to at least persuade you otherwise a little bit. Because full disclosure, I completely was not on board with this movie while I was watching it. Very confused, a little bit bored. And then I read what the hell was going on in that movie. And now that I actually knew what I was watching, it was way more enjoyable.
Yeah, it's weird because, it goes from you seeing this, I don't know, kind of promiscuous young guy who is not a knight, but kind of acts like one. You're not really sure. And then he just chops off an Ent's head, and he travels 6 days through the country, gets his ass beat for what?
A couple of things. Number one, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, I thought for sure this was like a fantasy movie. So I didn't realize it was such a riddle. I didn't realize the story was so confusing, I guess. I thought this was just going to be, there's a Green Knight, some sort of evil villain, and they go and they fight him somehow. I was expecting this to be much more straightforward. I didn't realize that the Green Knight is a whole story wrapped in the King Arthur story.
Yeah.
So knowing that, what I witnessed made a lot more sense because, dude, I was so lost. I was so lost when we were watching this thing.
Well, and the thing is, from what I understand too, the I guess it's a poem, short story. I'm pretty sure it's a poem if I remember correctly. Whatever you want to call it. The archaic literature of the Green Knight is something that's been up for debate for a long time. I'm pretty sure Tolkien wrote essays on it because he did essays on Beowulf and all sorts of other Anglo-Saxon and English literature. So the Green Knight is one of those things that is already it already has a lot of mystery. I don't think anybody, it's not known who wrote it. So there's a lot of mystery behind it. There's a lot of metaphors and stuff that you can take out of it, so
the synopsis that I read on it basically said the Green Knight is to the King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table kind of thing. It is to that what Rogue One is to Star Wars. It's kind of like a loose sort of side story that roughly, because Gawain, the main character in this, is Arthur's nephew, I think. And the article that I wrote basically described what happens in the book and then how it's sort of different. This movie doesn't follow the book to a T. It's not exactly the story that I guess has been kind of transcribed, but it's close. Basically, the story that I read from the official Green Knight story is that, he proposes this challenge of, you cut me somewhere and then I will in a year return the cut. For some reason, he cuts his head off. Why would you not just give him a little cut on the arm or something?
Yeah, I know.
He thought, okay, here's this demon, basically, this monster coming into my kingdom. I want to be around all these legends, so I'm going to try to kill it.
I mean, that makes sense. It was a walking tree person.
Right, so he thinks, it's the thing's coming in here to terrorize us. I'm just going to kill the thing, so he just cuts its head off instead of just giving it a little slice on the arm.
That did not come across in the film, because the way everybody reacted, they were like, oh, the tree person's back. Like nobody really, I don't know, it made it feel like this was something they accepted in the world, and so I didn't feel the need for him to cut off his head when the guy was trying to play a game. That's good to know.
Right. I mean, I didn't understand that either, but that's kind of the excuse I've given the film as to why did he slice the thing's head off when he easily could have just given him a little paper cut on the finger or something and been on with his day. I will say that the Green Knight himself looked amazing.
Fucking incredible, yeah.
And the sound, every time he moved, it sounded like a tree crackling and falling. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine the piece on that thing. Imagine how big your just hog would be if you were just made out of wood, dude. That guy's just.
Is that a term you have just now coined?
Yeah, hell yeah. When
even
I ride my
Tenzin
Harley,
like
bro. When I ride my Harley, I just like to let my hog be free. You know what I mean?
Hogs on hogs. Hashtag hogs on hogs.
Hashtag hogs for hogs.
Hogs for
Oh
hogs.
my god. Yeah, but he looks sick. And it makes sense because the critic score for this movie was much higher than the audience score, and I completely understand that. But I implore you, if you're somebody who went into this movie and had no idea what was going on, you were bored out of your mind or you're confused out of your mind, just even now having seen the movie, look up the story of the Green Knight, and it'll make way more sense. But that's a question I wanted to pose to you. Is it fair for movies to expect us to know what the story is before we go into it?
I think it is, because if you assume that films were made for consuming, if I as a director made a film that was only meant for people to watch it and enjoy it and make it easy for them, you're taking out most, I would argue most of the films that have been made, because filmmaking for the most part was an art form that was meant to make people think, right? That's why you have weird ass movies that come out that which, by the way, I have a suggestion for a film that we should watch. It's only 30 minutes. I'm sure you will hate it, but I would love to hear your right, actually, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if you were like, dude, this is actually really incredible. So anyways.
I'll watch anything for 30 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, it's 27 minutes, I think. So.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's in my threshold.
Okay, good. Yeah, film is an art form, and it's meant to challenge us and make us think, just like any art form. And I think that it's fair to say that, hey, I'm gonna make this film about an old piece of text that has a lot of mystery behind it, and I'm gonna make it in a way that it holds to that mystery, that remains kind of unobtainable to us. We're not really sure what the hell's going on.
Right. It's supposed to be a little bit.
Yeah, because that was the intent. That was the intent of when they created the film.
Fair enough. It makes sense that this movie was based off of an old script like that, because I felt the exact same way watching this movie as I did reading every book in any AP class I ever took. It literally, I felt so just confused. I felt lost.
That's annual pass holder,
granted,
for those of you who don't know.
Yeah, that. Granted, I did not pass any of those AP exams, so that would make a little more sense. But do you guys have AP over there on the West Coast? Do you have AP classes?
Yeah. I don't know what it stood for or stands for, because I never took any AP classes.
I think it's just advanced placement.
Oh. Yeah.
But I think it's advanced placement, and it just is college.
The wonderful thing about having immigrant parents is nobody tells you that your grades in high school are important for college. So I didn't do any of that. So
it's all right, because I knew full well that they were important, and still was barely a C student. So there you go.
C's get degrees.
Yeah. Motto of my life, basically. So the story of Gawain himself is supposed to be a story of tests, in which Gawain fails basically every single one. So he's tested first when he's challenged by the Green Knight, and he fails that test by cutting his head off when he should have just given him a cut on the arm or something, even though it was laid out. Then he fails the test of when he meets that thief in the movie. The thief asks, he basically gives him directions, and in exchange, Gawain doesn't give him anything back.
Even
so
though
he
has
fails
a
that
pouch full of
test.
money.
Right, even though he has a pouch full of gold. Then he goes to the kingdom that he finds in the middle of nowhere, this super nice kingdom with the Lord.
Yeah, I didn't understand
This Lord. It's all symbolic, I'm sure. But again, it's more tests. So the guy poses him a question, at least in the story, the Lord Bikram or something like that, poses him a question and says, I will hunt for you every day and bring you back food. In exchange, I want whatever gifts you receive during the day while I'm away. So the queen, the lady of that manor, kisses him that first day, and then the Lord wants Gawain to kiss him. It's kind of weird, but whatever. On the final day, basically, that green band that he has around his waist, he's essentially told this band will keep death away. This band will prevent you from dying. And so he takes it. And then when that Lord asks for it in the woods, he doesn't give it to him. So he fails that test too. Then he goes to he finally finds the Green Knight himself, and he won't let him kill him. So he fails that test as well. And it's not until the end when he takes that green thing off, that green, whatever you call that, belt off. That's when the Green Knight at the end is like, well done, you've passed. Yes. But in the movie, he still is like, now off with your head. He still kills him at the end of the movie. But in the story, and you read it, so you can tell me, I just read this on an article.
Well, he cuts his head off. But
okay.
Right? Like, he cuts his head off, but then it turns out that it was all in his head.
Right, it was like a vision.
Yeah,
basically.
And then he
the
decides
whole thing was like a big vision.
Yeah, and then he tells him wait, and then he takes it off, and then none of that happens.
Yeah, it was very confusing. But again, once I read a little bit more about the story of the Green Knight, it helped me to understand what I just saw, so I didn't feel so lost. It's like reading the spark notes for a book. You can kind of appreciate it a little more.
Well, I mean,
because
and
you start to get what's going on.
This is some dense text. Like, these are, essays, like doctorate level essays have been written on this text. So it makes sense that the film wouldn't be like the easiest digestible thing. But I will say,
super easy to consume.
Yeah.
Not super easy to consume.
I will say that the way they kind of made the film, the way they portrayed it in trailers and all of the hype behind it and everything, I thought it was going to be a much more epic film.
Me too. Big time.
Like, I thought it was going to be like and I know this is unfair to say, but I thought it was going to be on like the level of like Lord of the Rings, like something like that. It doesn't have to be like this huge sweeping film, like, multiple films, but I thought it was going to be that level of fantasy,
yeah. Way more fantasy, way more action.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting.
And it was just a lot of him walking and brooding. There were
a lot of him walking and brooding and being kind of incompetent.
Yeah, and if you're into giants and boobs, there's some of that in this.
It's hot, right? I know. At least they gave us that.
Like
that was
a
hot.
30-foot breast. I don't think they had nipples. Did they have nipples?
Oh, there were nipples.
There were.
I'll send you. I screenshot it. I'll send you some pictures later. Oh yeah, they had nipples, and there was a giant baby that they were carrying around with them too. So that thing was breastfeeding. But were they made out of stone?
I don't know. Yeah.
Strange.
I don't know if those were supposed to be like, I don't know, Jotuns.
He was getting that. Yeah, I guess he was getting that ore straight from the tap, dude. He was just sucking it out of the giant tit.
As you do.
If you will. The fox talking got a little bit weird. I mean, there was a lot in this that, again, it was just as you're watching it, you started to lose me because it
the worst of the CGI in the film.
Yeah, surprisingly bad for how good. I will say, visually, other than the fox, visually pretty stunning movie. I mean, some of the scenery was really, really impressive. And the Green Knight himself looked amazing. He was a fucking stud. He's just my type. Tall.
With his hog.
Made of wood. Green. With a hog on him. A big wooden hog. Yeah, it was good. So, I mean, obviously, and most people would know this, especially if you watch this channel a lot. You can pretty much guess that the critic score on this would be higher than the audience score. Because from a critic point of view, I can imagine that there's a little more to look into on this, and there's a lot written between the lines. The audience, however, for someone just watching this like me, it was a little bit hard to digest, and it did lose me pretty fast. So I will tell you that the critic score on this was an 88%, while the audience score was a mere 49%.
It goes back to that whole film being an art form thing, and so again, this is one of those films that is just, it's weird, and you're either gonna love it and think that it's the most breathtaking thing you've ever seen, or you're gonna lose your it's gonna lose your attention very quickly.
Right.
I was part of the latter group. I did not really enjoy this film as much as I was hoping for. It did lose my attention. Like, there's entire sequences where there's no dialogue and he's not doing anything. It's just a shot of him. Like, as amazing as the cinematography was, I think that a lot of the story needed to be pruned of unnecessary shots.
I could have done with some more exposition at the beginning and less filler, him walking around
Exactly.
in the middle.
Yeah. And I get it because it's in the story, but like him getting robbed did absolutely nothing for the story.
Just slowed it down for no reason whatsoever.
So it's like they tried, and this is where you get into like, how true to the story do you need to be? And how do you write a story that fits the mold of what we have been trained to see in Hollywood films, with the beginning, middle, and end, and a nice bow at the end and all that, and still stay true to it. And it's just, I don't know, this film for me felt like a miss. I didn't think it was terrible. I do see some of the artistic intent there. I see some of the shots that were trying to be made. I appreciate it, and I thought visually it was stunning. The cinematography was beautiful. I think that some of the directing was just a little bland. And I don't know. Anyways, 88% for the critics. I'm going to come in a little lower with a 7.5. It's not a bad film. Okay. I will probably watch it again at some point, but it just didn't live up to the hype. It didn't, and the hype that it set up for itself. Like, really.
Yeah, I don't know. And again, it's these expectations we always have for these movies, and then whether a movie meets them or doesn't, it hurts sometimes. But just not, like you said, just not the movie I wanted when I was going into this. I was expecting much more fantasy, and I was expecting much more kind of an adventure, an action. And the adventure was just him walking around, no real danger. I mean, there's danger. I shouldn't say no real danger, but you never really feel like you're invested in his journey, I guess. It's all very confusing. As somebody who didn't read The Green Knight before this, this to me felt like something that maybe needed to be like a play of some sort, like a mature opera kind of thing, not so much a movie. I don't think this translated super well to the big screen. Personally, I think I'm going to come in with a 5.5. I was extremely bored. I can appreciate the visual aspects of this being really good, but I mean, if I was writing an article for this thing in the newspaper, doing a review, I could take that into a better account. But as someone just sitting down, by the way, this movie's not free. I mean, you pay to watch this one. It's not like, if this had just been included on Netflix or something, that maybe would have made me feel a little bit differently. But dude, I mean, this is like a full price rental movie. It's like $20 to rent this thing on Amazon. So if you haven't seen it already, I would probably suggest you save your money, unless you've read The Green Knight and are interested in that story. Then go ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I agree with
I'm
that.
good with that. 7.5 and then a 5.5. I'm pretty good with that. You got anything else, Chris, before we jump into our current event for today?
Did you know that The Green Knight is called The Green Knight because of the insane amounts of weed that he smokes?
They wanted to call him the Ganja Knight, but they didn't think it would reach out to audiences.
He wasn't having that. Yeah.
So Right. So he went with the Green Knight. Very good. Now you guys know. Before we jump into our current event today, guys, we're going to ask you one more time. If you've not already, please smash the like button. It really helps the channel out a lot. Thumbs up, thumbs down, fair is fair. And if you've not yet subscribed,
we are keeping tally of every single one of you that thumbs down this, and we're working with...
Your name is on a list somewhere, and we're working very closely with the FBI to find you and bring you to justice. That being said, let's jump into our current event for today, man. The WWE will be making an interactive movie on Netflix. So it will start. It's going to be a horror movie. It will star your favorite wrestling superstars such as The Undertaker and I think John Cena.
A horror movie about wrestling.
And it's interactive. So I don't know if you've seen any of this interactive content on Netflix, but this thing will be a choose your own path WWE wrestling horror movie coming to Netflix.
I'm going to drink so much and play that.
Yes.
Watch it, play it. Like, that's the other thing, is like, at what point do you...
True.
Is it a video game when it's interactive?
At what point is this a game? Yeah. At what point does this go from a shitty movie to a shitty video game?
Yeah. Because I've done the Bear Grylls,
I don't know.
like the Survivor stuff on Netflix.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. And he's like, "Do you want me to climb over this?
And it's
or do you want me to go fight that snake?"
Glitchy,
and you're
too.
like, "Oh yeah, it is."
So
it is.
I've pressed the
He's
button
like,
like
"Do you want
4
me to take
times.
my shirt off, or do you want me to go across this bridge?" You're like, "Oh, all right,
Well.
shirt off." Then the next one's like, "All right, are we gonna keep this going, or are we gonna get on with the adventure?" You're like, "No, let's.
Do I
let's
show
see
you
where
my
this gets us.
hog?
Go ahead and take some." Yeah. Would you like to see my hog, or would you like me to find food for the night? You're like, "Yeah, go ahead and take the hog out, man." You know where this is going. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that, guys, on Netflix. WWE interactive horror movie. It's coming. It is coming.
I don't know what to say except Kane better be in it.
I don't know who's in it. They haven't said. I know the Undertaker's in it.
Is the Undertaker is he still doing wrestling? Like, that's insane.
I don't think so. I think he's now doing interactive movies on Netflix, and that's about it. I think that's about the extent of the Undertaker's career right now.
Okay.
He's probably stiff as a board. That dude's neck has not worked right in 10 years, man. My God. That's it. All right, guys. Critic and the Common Man, we're out of here. Once again, thumbs up, thumbs down. Fair is fair. Before you click off of this video, smash the like button. Guys, if you've not already, go check out our Instagram, Critic and the Common Man on Instagram, criticandthecommonman.com. You can check out some of Chris's reviews. We have a shop. It's very rudimentary, but it's coming. You can also check out the ratings for everything that we've ever reviewed on this channel. It's amazing. So if you're looking for something good to watch, go through there and see some things that you've never seen that have some high ratings. It's actually a pretty good
hard
way
asses when it comes to
find a
ratings.
movie.
So if we got like an 8 or a 9 up there, then you should probably check it out if you haven't.
And if you find something on there that you completely disagree with our ratings, leave a comment down below and let us know what you think.
Leave a comment and
or
then
leave a
go
comment down
fuck
below.
yourself. I'm just kidding. Don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
leave a
if you
comment
want
down
to.
below. Let us. We're not going to stop
Yeah.
you. Go play with your hog. Let us know what you thought of the Green Knight. As someone who either did or did not read it. God, we're such children, dude.
know.
We're such like 10-year-olds.
I love that
my
this
God.
like
All right,
this
everybody.
started as like, hey, I want to start a podcast where I can have like a nice place to put up like film analysis reviews, and now we're
It's just us talking about a fantasy
about
knight's
King
hog.
Kong's penis and
Yeah, that's literally
Yeah.
it. All right, guys. Critic and the Common Man. We'll see you in the next episode. So long, everybody. Peace.